From Madame Noir to The Shade Room to Ebony Magazine to Essence Magazine to platforms such as Black Girls Rock, I think it's safe to say that Black women in America want people to know that they have arrived, and a large part of them want people to know that they're doing well. They're in every sector of the economy, from healthcare to finance to the military. Black women want you to know that they're being successful. And sometimes they may want you to know a little bit too much. Like, check out this story with Kadia Iman, who was graduating college and wanting somebody to know that she didn't get a chance to get her full first and last name out there. Let's play that clip.
Okay, let go. You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is Khadijata Diallo, and I'm graduating today. I don't like how you snatched the mic out of my hand, so today is going to be all about me.
Oh, drops the mic. Congratulations!
Now again, this is not all Black women. This is a Black woman at the college letting you know that, hey, she's arrived. And she did that for all the Black women out there. Yes, she said it on her Instagram post, but it's not just her. There are other Black women out there doing great things outside of America. And these tend to be African American women too. In fact, those people who are leading the repatriation back to Africa, many of them are African American women, like my friend African Superstar Black, to people like Sister Ya. We got to be honest, a lot of Black women are doing very well in Africa from the African American community. Ashley in Africa, in South Africa. But this particular story is about what happened in Ghana. Now, for those of you who don't know, Ghana is the New York City of the repatriation community. Most African Americans who are repatriating in Africa will tend to favor Ghana because we have a relationship with Ghana. Ever since Kwame Nkrumah, the nation's first leader, was educated at Lincoln University, and one of our greatest intellectuals, W.E.B. Du Bois, died in Ghana, we have had a relationship with Ghana. And because of the year of the return, a lot of African Americans have chosen Ghana to be their first step to visiting Africa. And I believe that in this case, some African American women decided to go and visit. But they decided to visit Elmina, which is a former slave castle that many of our ancestors could have passed through coming to the New World, which we now know for some of us as America. The New World for some of our ancestors ended up in Brazil, Jamaica, Haiti, other parts of South America, Dominican Republic, and you may name it. But something happened, guys. These young ladies went to Elmina Castle and unfortunately started twerking. And I got a lot of emails about this, and brother Tariq Nasheed got wind of it, and he made a video about the subject and about this particular situation. I'd like to play what he had to say, and then I want to come back.
Ratchets. You got to call it what it is. They went over to Ghana, and I'm trying to understand the backstory. I think these girls are from Atlanta or Memphis somewhere. I don't know. I don't know their background too much. But from what I understand, one of them is engaged to a Ghanaian man. This is what I've heard. I don't know all the details, but nevertheless, they went over to Ghana and they go to the Elmina Castle. And they go to the Elmina Castle in Ghana and they get up there and start twerking. They go to Elmina and they get their asses up there and they just start twerking. Now look at this. Hold on. Let me play this. This is them at Elmina Castle. And what I'm talking about, she twerking for the ancestors. Hold on. Okay. No, we got to unpack this. Let's unpack this. These ratchets, because it's very ratchet. There are a lot of African cats who are mad, and I don't know why they're mad, because them twerking at Elmina, that's not being disrespectful to the African, because the Elmina Castle, basically, hell, the Africans were the ones who were over there. Some of them were doing the selling. So, that's disrespectful to the ones who were sold. That's disrespectful to the ones who eventually were brought over to the Western Hemisphere. That's disrespectful to them. You understand? That's not disrespectful to the African culture there. That's disrespectful to the black people who suffered and were sold and brought over here. But let's unpack that. This whole thing, they're twerking at Elmina, this whole thing where people go somewhere and start twerking in very inappropriate places. I want y'all to understand something. Twerking is done for two reasons. Twerking is done to be sexually enticing, all right? Also, twerking is used as a form of disrespect. Twerking is used as a form of disrespect. It's a form of basically denigrating something. You understand? It's almost like an animal pissing on something. An animal goes somewhere and raises its leg and pees on something. Sometimes dogs do that, and they don't even have to pee. They just kind of raise their leg, trying to squeeze something out in order to denigrate and stake their claim to something. Hey, I'm claiming this and I'm going to denigrate it to make it less useful and valuable to you. So now I've staked my claim on your territory. I want y'all to understand why this type of nasty filth is happening. Because there's nothing sexually enticing about twerking at a slave castle where people suffered. There's nothing sexual about that. That's strictly done to be disrespectful. It's done to raise your leg up and mark your territory.
So that video is called Tariq Nasheed Ratchet Renaissance. And I would agree, if not with most, if not probably all of what he talked about, especially the two reasons for twerking. One is to sexually entice a man, but this whole idea of defiling something is secondary. And let me just say that for a lot of African Americans who want to go to the slave castle, and I used to have a big debate with African Superstar. I said I would never want to visit that place because I think that for me, I don't want to go to a place where my ancestors were sold. And for those people who were sold on that boat coming to the New World, imagine they had been captured or they had been tricked, and some of them didn't even make it to the New World. They died by trying to get in the ocean, trying to swim back, or they were beaten to death, or they died of disease. And the way that you show respect for these ancestors is you're going to get out there and twerk. Can you imagine, let me just say, people in the Ashkenazi European Jewish community for, let's say, some of the things that happened in Poland, right? There were some atrocities happening in Poland. Could you imagine that some Jewish people, Europeans, would honor their ancestors by doing such a thing, by going there in at Auschwitz or something like that and start twerking? Could you imagine somebody doing that? Or somebody from the Asian community honoring their ancestors like that? And what you're showing to me is that you're doing this for clicks and views. You don't care anything about your ancestors. You want it to go viral, and you wanted to do so in the most disrespectful way. And so then if somebody starts, talking about black people, or somebody starts disrespecting black women or even black men, those are some of the sisters that will be the first to want somebody to be canceled. But then when you have a history, and if you're pretending to do things like this, you're showing that you yourself don't have no respect for your people. And pretty much anybody who looks at that, like Lebanese or Saudi Arabian or anything like that, because if their people did that, it probably would mean a harsh punishment, if not immediate death. But the fact that we had sisters from our community or from our diaspora, I can't tell if they're African American or not, but I would assume that they grew up in America and at least one of them is African American. It shows you don't care about your people. You don't care about your people's plight. To you, it's a joke. It's all about bouncing butt. And you did this to get clout. And that's why some people talk about Accra, Ghana, or Ghana is turning into the new Atlanta, where a lot of bad habits is coming from the diaspora. And I'm not just saying that it's African Americans in general doing that all the time. I'm not going to say that, but this is what we're talking about. And for other people in the world to take your people serious, the first thing that we got to do is take our own people serious. And something like that is not to be played with. Our ancestors, and I've seen people even talk bad about Harriet Tubman. I remember that was a big ordeal about 7-8 years ago. Harriet Tubman being on the $20 bill. There was brothers disrespecting Harriet Tubman. And I was like, how dare you talk about Harriet Tubman? You never give way or room for anybody to disrespect your group. And one of the reasons why we do suffer from a great deal of respect from other groups is because people clearly can see that we don't respect our people. Could you imagine going to Dubai and some ladies would do that to their king or something similar that's sexual? No, they already know what's going to happen, right? You just don't do things like that. And they would never go and do that to somebody else's people. But for your own people, then you want to get respect. Now, I know this is something that most ladies don't do, but again, it just goes to show you how far gone you are in your mind to even put that on camera and upload the video. It's sickening. It's beyond sickening. And I'm just really lost for words how they can even do that. And again, this is not all sisters. I understand that. But what I want to say is this. Sisters, here's my recommendation to some of y'all. If you don't come out and say, hey, look, this is something that as black women, we just can't go for that. Because when you don't say that and this is allowed, and that whole Glorilla stuff, twerking everywhere, twerking in the Walmart, twerking in whatever, if you allow people to do that, then what happens is that they do it everywhere. And it embarrasses our people even towards the local Ghanaians. When we go over there and they see something like this, it's embarrassing for our group. So guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. Appreciate you for all you do, subscribe to the bell. We're out.